Hey, hey, hey. Happy Tuesday. Come on in, pull up a chair. The Daily Dope is in the air. Howdy, 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 gang. Yes, I'm Jeff McAleer, and welcome back to the Duct Tape Studios. I am your host here at The Daily Dope, which is presented by thegaminggang.com, of which I happen to be the Grand Poobah. Yes, I am the founder and editor-in-chief of The Gaming Gang. Welcome aboard. So if this is your first time joining me, let me point out, it's very, very casual. We're just hanging out, talking about the latest in tabletop gaming news. This is not rocket surgery by any stretch of the imagination. Of course, if you are a longtime viewer and you're hanging out watching live, thank you. Welcome back. We're going to hang out. We're going to have some fun. Hopefully. Tonight, it's Tuesday, November 17th, 2020. This is episode 574 of The Daily Dope. So, lots cooking tonight. But first, let me remind you that if you end up liking this video, by all means, please give it a quick thumbs up. Subscribe to the Gaming Gang channel if you haven't already. And if you do subscribe, ding that bell. Because not only will it let you know when the Daily Dope streams live right here on YouTube, Monday through Thursday nights, as I bring you the latest in tabletop gaming news. It'll also let you know when I upload other videos, such as the upcoming review of The King is Dead from Osprey Games. This will be up later on tonight, as I promised you yesterday. So you got this to look forward to later on this evening. Very light, kind of abstract strategy game. Check it out. This is the second edition of The King is Dead, so there's some new wrinkles in there as well. Of course, when you're not watching videos on the Gaming Gang channel, be sure to visit thegaminggang.com for all latest in gaming news, reviews, and a whole lot more. You know the drill. Get your geek on at thegaminggang.com. And of course, because this is a live stream, that means chat is available on YouTube. It's not on screen. It's one of the ways I keep some more unusual commenters at bay, but I do my best to pay attention to chat. So if you'd like to say howdy, or maybe you got a question, comment, by all means, please chime in. I will do my best to respond. So the Madman was first out the chute in chat saying howdy. Good to see the Madman. We've got Kabuki Kid, Double K is in the house. Big John Vogel. I don't know if John's big or not. I don't know. Just was like, Big John Vogel is here, as well as Disavowed 92. Flaming Heron is here as well. So, got chat off and running. Sweet. So, I am going to use the force here. Hold on one moment. If a grade A shows up in chat, he is going to ask about the Star Wars miniatures game moving from Fantasy Flight games to Atomic Mass games. You heard it here first. It is something I am going to talk about after the news. I'm not going to devote a news piece to it, but think things are falling into place like I've predicted previously. Not sure. We will find out. And, of course, we are going to talk a little bit about virtual tabletops. As I mentioned yesterday, I have an opportunity to check out Foundry, which is a new virtual tabletop. A lot of people are very impressed by it. So we're going to talk a little bit about virtual tabletops and see what VTTs you might be using and why you like them or what you think needs to be worked on. So that's after the news as well. Before I jump into the news, I got some rather dire news. Okay, so we don't know for sure, but it appears that my sister-in-law's parents have COVID-19. Nobody's sure yet. I guess her dad is in really bad shape up in Michigan. And of course, they're the sort of people who were not wearing masks because, it's all a hoax. Anyway, my understanding talking to my brother is that her dad was really, really weak. And they were trying to get him to go to the hospital yesterday or last night. He didn't want to go. I guess finally today they convinced him to go in, and they did not have a rapid test to give him. So they sent him home. So they don't know. I don't know. I have no idea. I got my fingers crossed. I really do. Because, I try to stay away from politics and things like that. But I think by now people know the side of the aisle I'm on. But I am also not one of these people who's like, well, you don't agree with me. Well, I'm burning hell then. Actually, that's what they think I'm going to do. Regardless, I think there is middle ground that we all have. I mean, we're all Americans for the most part, I think, sort of. I don't know. So anyway, so I want to roll it out. I'm really, really hoping that they'll be okay. So I guess supposedly my sister-in-law's mom is also sick, but not to the extent as her dad. And of course, both of them are in their 80s. So I don't know. All right. So a gray day has popped into chat. Good to see you, a gray day. See if that prediction comes true, huh? So Kabuki Kid says, yeah, it'd be nice if all of us would be on the side against COVID. Yeah, I know. So, oh my gosh. So the Madman says that his grandmother, who, if I remember correctly, is 103, is in a facility that they have had an outbreak. So everybody's restricted to their rooms. Fingers crossed for your grandmother too, Madman. Fingers crossed. So, because as far as I understand, the Madman has kind of mentioned his grandmother before, and she seems, for 103, probably a lot sharper than this clown here. So, All right. Anyway, let's jump on into the news. Get our minds off every day it's just something else, right? So, Q1 of 2021 is going to see the release of Oath, Chronicles of Empire and Exile from Leader Games. I got the dope. In Oath, 1 to 6 players guide the course of history in an ancient land. Players might take the role of agents bolstering the old order or scheme to bring the kingdom to ruin. The consequences of one game will ripple through those that follow, changing what resources and actions future players may have at their disposal, and even altering the game's core victory condition. If a player seizes control by courting anarchy and distrust, future players will have to contend with a land overrun by thieves and petty warlords. In a later game, a warlord might attempt to found a dynasty, creating a line of rulers that might last generations or be crushed by the rise of a terrible arcane cult. In Oath, there are no fancy production tricks, app-assisted mechanisms, or production gimmicks. Hoo-hoo! Leader Games throwing a little shade. Yowza! The game can be reset at any time and doesn't require the same playgroup from one game to the next. A player might use the fully featured solo mode to play several generations during the week, and then use that same copy of the game for Saturday game night with friends. If we ever get past this pandemic, where we can actually have Saturday game nights with friends. More on that after the news. There are no scripted narratives or predetermined endpoints. The history embedded in each copy of Oath will grow to be as unique as the players who helped build it. Oath, Chronicles of Empire and Exile, is for 1 to 6 players, ages 10 and up, plays around 45 minutes to 2 hours. It is going to carry an MSRP of $100 when it arrives early next year. This sounds excellent. Sounds like a blast. Leader Games is pretty well known for having good games. And then that price tag jumps out at me and it's like, ouch, 100 bones. Yowza. Especially, it's not a game that's loaded down with miniatures and things like that. So, don't know. I have no idea. This is all I know about it. I know it had a very successful Kickstarter. I know I shared the news of that when the Kickstarter was running. I do love the fact that this is a legacy game that doesn't have to be, for an example, you're not putting stickers on things. You're not tearing up components. It's not a, oh, well, we get to play it once, maybe 15 times, and it's a little different each time. And then when you're done, that's it. So I do like that. So the Madman says, yeah, that does seem a bit pricey for what they see. And Flaming Heron says, it seems very minimalist, if anything. I do believe there's a lot more to this than the component image that they're sharing. Problem is, there aren't a lot of images floating around out there from Leader Games. There's other images out there from other outlets and people who like to take board game photography and things like that, but not from Leader Games. So I'm only using images that they have shared. It's got that same art style, like from Root, although it looks a little more detailed, I think, than Root looks. Or Fort, that's another one of their games. This could be pretty cool. This could be pretty cool. So Disavowed92 says, yeah, this looks very much like a prototype. The one image that I am sharing that it shows everything, that is from the Leader Games website. So I don't think it's a prototype. Then again, remember, this did Kickstart, so I don't know. All right, moving right along. Arriving later this month from Warcradle Studios is Bill and Ted's Riff in Time. It's Riff, not Rift, Riff. I've got the dope. Greetings, my excellent friends. The year is 2506, and something most unprecedented is happening to history. All throughout time, personages of historical significance have been showing up in the wrong points of time. This is having egregious reverberations and is causing time rifts to materialize, threatening to disrupt the harmonic fabric of our reality. The Wild Stallions have put their latest tour on hold and are trying to locate all the misplaced personages, returning them to their correct points in time and closing the rifts. At the center of the disruption is the most heinous time fracture of all, located in San Dimas. If all the rifts are not closed in time, then reality will fracture and the world will be destroyed. Bogus. In Bill and Ted's Riff in Time, players take on the role of members of Wild Stallions, tracking down all the personages of historical significance who have become lost at the wrong points in history. After they've been located, the players need to return them to their correct points in time. Only then can a rift be closed, and quickly. As the game progresses, time cracks a little more with dire consequences. During setup, veteran players can increase the difficulty of Bill and Ted's Riff in Time. By starting the Riff in San Dimas at a higher number, the players will find they have more of a challenge whilst they attempt to restore history. Bill and Ted's Riff in Time is for 1 to 4 players, ages 14 and up, plays in around 80 minutes. It's going to carry an MSRP of $50 when it arrives later on this month. Kabuki Kid says, San Dimas High School football rules! Nice. Madman saying, hey, chat, be excellent to each other. I got to be honest, I don't know what to think of this game. I really don't. It doesn't look like there's much to it. But it does include some Bill and Ted minis. It's got minis of the princesses. And I'm not showing it, but it is available. And you kind of see it on the next image that's going to pop up. They actually have miniatures for all the historic personages and Rufus. Good old George Carlin. I think that's probably the first miniature of George Carlin ever made. So that is an extra add-on that you can, it's an expansion that you can get. Gotta say, the miniatures do look pretty cool. If those are actually painted minis they're showing us, and it does look like they are. Anyway, this is arriving later on this month. I did see Bill and Ted Face the Music when it first came out. I know a lot of people were crowing about it. I thought it was fine. I thought, it was pleasant. I liked it. I think I chuckled a couple of times. I did not find it as funny as other Bill and Ted movies, though. So I don't know. Actually, my favorite one is the second, with death. I know. No spoilers, Jeff. But then again, that movie is, I don't know, what, 25 years old? I think I can spoil it. Might be older than that. All right, moving right along. Let's talk about some role-playing game news. Because, well, first of all, let me grab a quick sip here. Bogus Journey is Kabuki Kid's favorite too. Haven't seen the new one. It is fine. I mean, it's okay. It's more nostalgia than anything else, in my opinion. And of course, in the midst of a pandemic, it gave me pleasant feelings. So it was like, that's nice. So the Madman hasn't seen the new one either. Well, I won't do any spoilers. Don't worry. So before I jump into the next news piece, I want to mention, so far it looks like the stream is good. Not seeing any drop frames. Maybe flushing out the DNS and rebooting the router yesterday might have cleared things up. A lot of people don't realize that with their internet provider, they need to unplug their modem, leave it unplugged for about 30 seconds to a minute, plug it back in to reboot it every couple of weeks or so, because most of the time, if there's any sort of update, the update will not process. You have to reboot that modem. So a Grade A says they haven't seen either film. None of them? None of the three of Grade A? I didn't realize Grade A lived in Soviet Russia. In Russia, we don't watch Bill and Ted. Bill and Ted watch us. All right, anyway, there are two new bundles of holding that have arrived from Free League Publishing, and both of them feature Symborum. I've got the dope on the core bundle. Adventurer. We've resurrected our August 2018 Symborum bundle, featuring Symborum, the tabletop role-playing game of dark fantasy from Free League Publishing. Inspired by films Princess Mononoke and Pan's Labyrinth and the Witcher computer games, Symborum conjures the wintry primeval forest of Devakar, a rich setting of ancient ruins and barbarian clans, iron-packed elven wardens and blight beasts, princes and rogues, treasure and corruption, all beautifully illustrated in full color. Be sure to check out the spectacular Imgur gallery. There's an Imgur. I think maybe it's Imgur. I don't know. I don't use it. This bargain price offer of English language PDFs include the complete rules, supplements, adventures, game aids, and artwork. Everything you need to explore the depths of Devakar. For just $14.95, you get all 5 titles in this revived offers starter collection with a retail value of $48 as DRM-free PDFs, including the full-color 265-page Symborum core rulebook, the Advanced Player's Guide, the Abilities and Powers reference cards, and Adventure Pack 1 with 2 introductory scenarios. If you pay more than this revived offer's threshold price of $24.33, you'll level up and also get this revival's entire bonus collection with 5 more supplements and adventures worth an additional $51, including The Mark of the Beast and Tomb of Dying Dreams, 2 landscapes scenarios that complete the adventure begun in the core rulebook. This will hold Wrath of the Warden, the launch of the 7-part Throne of Thorns campaign, the Symborum Game Master screen, and the glorious art book, The Art of Symborum. Well, I guess It's an art book, so you would title it The Art of Symborum. After you've got this bundle, move deeper into the forest with an all-new companion, Symborum Settings, that adds recent source books and adventures. These savings do run through December 7th. 10% of your payment after gateway fees will be donated to the Symborum Offers pandemic-related charity, Direct Relief. Nice! Very nice. I love the artwork to Symborum. I gotta be honest, I have not seen any of the books. I've not dove into it or anything like that. But the artwork just looks so cool. It just has kind of this sort of ancient Germanic kind of primordial forest vibe to it. I don't know. So Mel Winius from York has arrived in chat and says Symborum is great. It's the only system where the GM does not have to roll for mean stuff that attacks the players. So, and a Great A says that they heard the original translation to English was kind of difficult to understand. So, So Flaming Heron says they've got only got the core book, so they might snatch up this bundle. There are 2 bundles, just so you know. There are 2. This is the core bundle. So definitely check that out. All right, so there is plenty of Starfinder action on the horizon this December. Last week, I talked about the new Pathfinder releases that are coming out next month. Tonight, I'm going to talk about the Starfinder action from Paizo Inc. So, got to point out, breaking these 2 up, the Pathfinder and Starfinder, makes this a shorter news piece. But it's still going to be kind of a long news piece. So as I usually mention, if you have no interest in Starfinder, you might want to go take a bathroom break or go make a sandwich, pour yourself an adult beverage. Because we're going to be talking about Starfinder for a little bit. Aha. So first off, we have Starfinder Adventure Path 35, Merchants of the Void, Part 2 of 6 in the Fly Free or Die Adventure Path. The crew of the Oliphant, the Timothy Oliphant, that's who it's named after. No, I'm joking. It's not, because it's not spelled the same way. Anyway, the crew of the Oliphant have earned the freedom to go where they please, but they still got bills to pay and old enemies hot on their tail. The Fly Free or Die adventure path continues as the player characters travel to Vescarium, an interplanetary empire ruled by the militant and lizard-like Vesk, where the crew must become smugglers and bounty hunters, capturing illegal resources in the turbulent storms of a gas giant. But along the way, they're forced to make some tough decisions that will come back to haunt them later. Spoilers! Attracting the anger of the Vesk military itself. Can the player characters keep running forever? Or will they eventually turn, stand, and fight for their lives? Merchants of the Void is a Starfinder adventure for 4 third-level characters. This adventure continues the Fly Free or Die adventure path, a 6-part monthly campaign in which players take on the role of a merchant crew with an experimental starship, trying to get rich, escape interplanetary assassins, and outwit their rivals. This volume also details a crew of smugglers who cross the players at every turn. Spoilers. Their starship, a collection of alien threats, a mysterious tropical paradise planet, and a series of side jobs, short mini-adventures the GM can insert into the campaign at any time. Each monthly, full-color, soft-cover Starfinder Adventure Path volume, yes, say that 5 times fast, contains a new installment of a series of interconnected science fantasy quests that together create a fully developed plot of sweeping scale and epic challenges. Each 64-page volume of the Starfinder Adventure Path also contains in-depth articles that detail and expand the Starfinder campaign setting and provide new rules, a host of exciting new monsters and alien races, new planet to explore, starship to pilot, and more. This will carry an MSRP of $22.99 in softcover, or you can snag it in PDF for $15.99. Then we've got the Starfinder Alien Archive 4. Battle, befriend, or become more than 100 bizarre alien life forms in this all-new creature collection for the Starfinder role-playing game. On countless worlds, orbiting countless stars, strange and wonderful creatures await discovery. In this book, you'll find rules and background information about creatures ranging from undead androids. Wouldn't an android not be alive in the first place? Wah, wah. Robot dragons to deadly laser-spined flowers and mysterious sea skeletons. Many species include rules for making your own playable alien character, from beings made of coral to animals uplifted by a sapient fungus to creatures truly bizarre to behold. Although those first two did sound kind of bizarre. You'll also find plenty of new equipment and player options, including a new set of augmentations that allows your character to adopt the strange features of dozens of existing playable alien species. Explore the extraordinary with Starfinder Alien Archive 4. It's going to carry an MSRP of $39.99. I believe it should be a hardcover. So, a Great A says, I think this week Paizo is doing the Pathfinder Beginner Box Troubles in Otari live stream. I think you are correct, a Great A. I almost said a trade day. Yes, because it's not like you hang out and chat ever. So we also have the Starfinder Starship Combat reference cards. Put the rules of Starship Combat for the Starfinder role-playing game at your fingertips. Whether you're a game master who needs a convenient reference for running Starship encounters, a player who wants summaries of the crew actions your character can take, or a newcomer trying to learn the ins and outs of Starship Combat, this 110-card deck features concise guides to the essential concepts of Starship Combat from the Starfinder Core Rulebook, Starfinder Character Operations Manual, and Starfinder Starship Operations Manual on handy double-sided cards. Stop flipping back and forth through rulebooks. Grab the cards you need and keep your Starship Combats running smoothly. This will carry an MSRP of $22.99. It'll be available in PDF for $15.99. As I see, Brian Gronberg has joined us in chat. Good to see you, Brian. Welcome back. So we have Paizo here saying, indeed. So I don't know if that's going to be Aaron from Paizo or maybe it's a mysterious Paizo person. Don't know. All right, so next we've got the Starfinder Alien Character Cards. Put the diverse species of the galaxy at your fingertips with Starfinder Alien Character Cards. Whether you're a player who wants an easy reminder of your character's racial traits, or a game master looking to quickly populate a cantina on a distant world, what does that remind me of? On the tip of my tongue. With strange science fantasy aliens, this deck of 55 double-sided cards features beautiful full-color art and PC-focused rules references for more than 50 playable species, including 5 new species never before seen in Starfinder. Additional cards present fun and imaginative hooks to help you create characters that everyone is sure to remember for many sessions to come. This deck will carry an MSRP of $14.99. We also have the Starfinder Flip Tiles City Hazards expansion. No city is truly safe. Next time your players are enjoying the safety and security of urban life, you'll be ready to surprise them with unsuspected threats just around the corner. Starfinder Flip Tiles City Hazards expansion set provides beautifully illustrated 6-inch by 6-inch map tiles that can transform your city into a perilous landscape of fires, floods, and orbital bombardments. Inside, you'll find 24 richly crafted double-sided map tiles. This expansion set, along with Starfinder Flip Tiles City Starter Set, allows you to create futuristic urban environments with endless variety. So stop your sketching and start your flipping today. Suitable for experienced GMs and novices alike, this product fits perfectly into any game master's arsenal. Wet, dry, and permanent markers erased from the tiles. These double-sided city tiles come in convenient packaging for easy storage. And this will carry an MSRP of $19.99. So there you have it. There are the 5 main releases for Starfinder that are coming next month. So I know a lot of you out there were asking, where's my review of the starter set for Pathfinder 2nd Edition? Paizo's here in chat, gang. Ask them. I'm just kidding. I'm just joking. Although, funny enough, there was something I was going to talk about. But with Paizo here in chat, maybe I shouldn't. I will. Once I'm done with the news. We've got some house cleaning to do after the news anyway. All right, my final news piece. This one's for the madman out there. There is a new Savage Worlds toolkit, which is available from Veiled Fury Entertainment. Sorry to say they don't have a website, but I've got the dope on Sprawl Runners. Sprawl Runners is a 71-page setting-agnostic Savage Worlds toolkit to help you run cyberpunk with optional magic in your games. It pays homage to the classic cyberpunk games of old, bringing their partially mythically enhanced flavor to the fast, furious fun of the Savage Worlds system. Sprawl Runners includes rules and ideas for playable species and how to integrate them in a potentially magical cyberpunk world in addition to humans included. Edges and hindrances to enhance a cyberpunk feeling, connecting many systems in Sprawl Runners to tie them into character advances. 2 different sets of rules for hacking in cyberspace, the lightning quick fast lane or the more detailed slow burn. They've got jockeys, characters who control vehicles and drones remotely or directly via implants, plus their toys, drones, and vehicles. A full system for integrating gear and implants into character advances instead of keeping track of currency. Rules to integrate cyberware into character advances instead of adding other subsystems to the game. There's generic. It is generic. I almost said genetic. There's generic gear typical for cyberpunk settings, including customizable weapons, as well as optional rules for magic in a cyberpunk world. Shadowrun anyone? Special gear and 3 arcane backgrounds, one of which is brand new. Sprawl Runners expands on existing Savage Worlds systems and is a toolkit containing rules and mechanics. It does not provide setting material. This 71-page PDF of Sprawl Runners is available at DriveThruRPG for $6.99. Sweet. Very cool. Nice. I do dig Cyberpunk. I know we had the big announcement. Cyberpunk Red is out from Artelsorian Games. Of course, it's out in PDF. I do know there have been a few people who have already picked it up using the links on thegaminggang.com. So, of course, once again, whenever I talk about DriveThruRPG, if you're going to swing over to one of the One Bookshelf sites, please stop by thegaminggang.com first. Click on one of our banner ads. That way, if you happen to make a purchase, I get a little portion of that sale. And all those little nickels, dimes, and quarters really do add up because there are a lot of people who use those banner ads, and it helps keep the Gaming Gang website around. I've mentioned it before. It essentially pays for our hosting on a monthly basis, and I don't have cheapo hosting. So, let's see, what was going on in chat here? A Great A says, wasn't there a cantina in barbed wire? God, barbed wire. Maybe I was thinking about that. Maybe I was. So, A Great A says that they've got the Pathfinder 2nd Edition beginner box pre-ordered. So, asking if they'll receive that before Thanksgiving. So, the Madman says this sounds, the last news piece is Sprawl Runner sounds like what's already in Interface 0. So, Paizo says our Pathfinder beginner boxes for reviewers have been ordered, but were delayed due to illness. I mean, that's a fact of life right now. COVID-19 is knocking people out. It is destroying distribution routes. So, for example, and I'll mention this in a second, Tasha's Cauldron of Everything for Dungeons and Dragons is delayed in some parts of North America till the 22nd. It's delayed in Europe until December 1st. So, yeah. Anyway, while I'm holding this, I do want to point out you've still got 2 opportunities to win my copy of the alternate art edition of Tasha's Cauldron of Everything. And it's pretty easy to get into the running. Just check out, well, you should probably check both videos out because you get 2 chances, 1 on each video. But my first look video as well as my review video will tell you how to get into the running and possibly win. So, let's see what else we got here. So great, it says, whenever I hear generic, the robbery scene in the store and Repo Man always pops up. So there was an old gag we used to say all the time, and it's not going to make any sense to any of you out there. But we used to say it all the time. We used to crack everybody up in my circle of friends back in high school. And it's generic. What? Generic. And I like it. Once again, makes absolutely no sense to you watching at home or wherever. But my friends and that used to just like if I used to be able to crack one of my friends up by simply saying, ingrown toenail. Yeah, it's kind of creepy and gross, but he used to bust up. I actually had him do a spit take a couple of times doing that. All right, anyway, Paizo's sitting here. I'm going to throw this out real quick because I have had people ask me before, comparing the number of views that I get for Paizo videos compared to videos that I share for Dungeons and Dragons. I've had people ask me, so does that mean that 5th edition D&D is just blowing the doors off of Paizo? And that is not necessarily the case. I'm sure Paizo doesn't mind me saying this, but yeah, 5th edition does outsell Paizo releases, but you got to also remember Wizards of the Coast doesn't release a lot of D&D stuff, where Paizo, you've got every month, you've got various different releases coming out. So the one thing that I want to mention is one of the reasons why I get so many views on my D&D stuff is because we get this, reviewers get this before they come out. So we're able to share info with potential buyers, whereas, and I love the fact that Paizo sends me stuff, so I'm not complaining. But a lot of times when I do coverage of something from Paizo, it's been out for a while. So people have seen it at other outlets and stuff like that. That's really the reason. It's not because, oh my gosh, D&D is outselling Pathfinder or Starfinder like 15-1. That's not the case. All right, so a Grade A says, I have purchased Paizo products based on the Gaming Gang reviews and flip-throughs. Thank you, a Grade A, because we have mentioned in the past that if I do a review or something like that and you're like, wow, you know what, that really does look good, I'm going to go buy that, you should tell the company that, hey, it was the Gaming Gang that I heard about this game from, and that's why I bought it, because companies like to know that. It also helps keep review copies coming my way to share with you. All right, so there are some questions flying around to Paizo right now. So I just feel weird saying Paizo. It's Paizo. I'm going to take a guess it's probably Aaron, because I think Aaron does most of the PR stuff. So if it is Aaron, hey, Aaron, thank you very much. And if it's not Aaron, hi, person on the Paizo account at YouTube. So I got to admit, my use of the Force didn't work today, because I thought for sure, I mentioned this before a Grade A arrived in chat, that I thought a Grade A was going to ask about Fantasy Flight Games. I just had FF in my note, in my, teleprompter. And for some reason, when I see FF, I just think Final Fantasy. Fantasy Flight Games is moving all of their Star Wars miniatures over to Atomic Mass Games. This was an announcement that was made. I think it was, excuse me for a sec. Grab a quick sip again. Yes, my Karnak card has been revoked. Yeah, what is? Little Johnny Carson joke there. So Flaming Heron says FF's reminds him of Fighting Fantasy, the British role-playing game. Anyway, so I think this was more in like an interior kind of meeting. I don't think this was necessarily something that they wanted public right off the bat. So they're effectively moving everything from FFG to Atomic Mass Games, who do that Marvel game. That actually looks pretty cool. The minis do look really nice. So this is what I think, and I pointed this out before. I think Asmodee is getting ready to sell Fantasy Flight Games, and this is yet another move that makes me believe that that's what's going on. Because they're taking the stuff that they know that, for an example, if they sold Fantasy Flight Games with the Star Wars licenses to somebody else, Lucasfilm might say no, and look to nix that deal. All depends on how their licenses actually structured. So I kind of get I've said it before. I think the game plan is Asmodee is going to divest itself of Fantasy Flight Games, but it's probably going to get to the point where really the big FFG titles that'll be left will be like Descent, Arkham Horror, Eldritch Horror, and the Game of Thrones games, although I don't think the Game of Thrones games sell that much anymore either. So that's just my impression, because I had heard before that Asmodee was actually, the folks who own Asmodee were actually shopping Asmodee around. That was about 6 months ago. So I don't know. We'll see what happens. We will see what happens. So yes, it is Aaron from Marketing and Media at Paizo. Thanks, Aaron. Like, I don't mean to disrupt your stream. No, you are not disrupting the stream at all. We usually have multiple conversations going on in chat with this. So, and Flaming Heron points out, yeah, that's no disruption, man. Chat's usually like this. So Disavowed 92 says, Atomic Mass Games' pedigree is the issue for them because it looks like they've only done Marvel Crisis Protocol. Very true. Now, I do understand that the folks who are in charge of the Star Wars miniatures line, and of course, we're not talking just Legion, we're talking X-Wing, we're talking about Armada, they're all going over there. But the folks who are in charge of that division are going as well. So, A Great A says they wouldn't be surprised if FFG gets bored. I don't know. I personally, if I were the one calling the shot there, I wouldn't do that. I certainly wouldn't do that, because why eliminate Fantasy Flight Games? You've got branding there. Why throw that branding away? That doesn't make any sense. So A Great A says that AMG already said they have changes planned for Legion. I got to be honest, I would love to check out some of the Fantasy Flight Games miniatures games and that. The minis do look pretty cool. I just don't have time for that kind of money sink. Plus, I don't have time to paint miniatures either. I would be sitting there going, I just want to paint miniatures. The hell with doing the Daily Dope tonight. I'm just painting minis. So Grady says they've already lost a lot of branding. Yeah, well, their RPGs are gone. All right, anyway, so the last thing we're going to, well, actually not the last thing we're going to talk about. We'll wrap up with the virtual tabletops. So anyway, next video that I'll be shooting is my unboxing of Caesar Rome versus Gaul from my friends over at GMT Games. Take a look here. Very cool. Very cool. Looking forward to checking this out. It is a 2-player game. It is card driven, and the artwork looks pretty sweet. If you're sitting there on a really small screen, you probably can't see, but the artwork looks pretty nice. So I'll be shooting this tomorrow. Hopefully we'll have that up tomorrow night as well. Keep in mind, I also have a review of Undaunted on the horizon. I don't want to do it just yet because, of course, tonight you'll see my review for The King is Dead, which is also from Osprey. So I don't like to have, you know, reviews right on top of each other from the same company. So Paizo, I'll say Aaron from Paizo says, Jeff's right. That'd be me. He should get the review products out sooner, but they come to the warehouse just in time to get them sent out again. I get that. I understand that. I completely understand. I just wanted to point out that I have had people ask me before, for like an example, just my first look video at Tasha's Cauldron of Everything is about 13,000 views right now. It hasn't been out that long. So, whereas like the Paizo stuff, it's, you know, it's already out there. People already have the starter set. As far as I know, I think. I'm not sure. All right. Anyway, so I was going to talk about virtual tabletops. And I would like anybody in chat to kind of chime in. If you watch the show after the fact, by all means, please share your thoughts in the comment section as well. So I had mentioned last night that my friends over at Cubicle 7 Entertainment were going to get me review codes, product codes for their Foundry releases for Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay 4th Edition. And I had mentioned, well, I don't use Foundry. Like, I don't have Roll20. Well, I mean, I've messed with Roll20. I've mainly used Fantasy Grounds, which I like Fantasy Grounds. There's some things that, you know, the learning curve's a little steep. But I understand that Foundry is actually a steeper learning curve, but there's a lot going for it because you purchase the software and that's it. It's yours. Whereas, say, Roll20, you really never own anything. So one thing I like about Fantasy Grounds was I got a lifetime license, and that means that that's it. I mean, I never have to pay for Fantasy Grounds again, although now they've got the two separate, they got Unity and they got the old Fantasy Grounds. So those are two different things. Whereas Roll20, you have to pay a yearly subscription. And if you pay a year at one time, it's like $100. I think it's $99 or $99.99. But you're going to pay that every year. And even when you purchase the products for it, I mean, essentially, you've purchased it for that platform. That's it. So I have messed around a little bit with Roll20. It left me sort of feeling meh. My best friend, Elliot Miller, tends to use Roll20. And he likes it. Myself, personally, I like Fantasy Grounds. Once again, kind of a learning curve. Foundry looks really interesting because there are a lot of add-on modules that are available out there that are free, that do a lot of different things. Once again, it just makes things more complex. So, and of course, we do also have Astral, which is a virtual tabletop from One Bookshelf, the folks behind Drive-Thru RPG. So I'm kind of curious if people out there are using virtual tabletops, because at this point in time, game night is pretty much off. And I had commented during one of the news pieces about Saturday night game night. And I said, I'll have more to say about that after the news. I read an article from a reputable source saying that this pandemic is being driven by people eating out. Knew that one. I mean, come on. And a lot of people getting together for game nights. I know, that sucks, doesn't it? Yeah. Saturday night game night is helping to fuel the COVID-19 pandemic. There's a lot of things helping to fuel it, don't get me wrong. But so the need for good virtual tabletops increases because this winter is going to be tough, gang. I'm telling you, I've been talking about this since early spring, that we are going to see some tough times ahead this winter. And that's simply based on my knowledge of what happened in 1919 and 1920. So I'm kind of curious, who uses virtual tabletops out there? What do you look for in your virtual tabletop? Are you enjoying the one that you're utilizing? We've got Aaron from Paizo hanging out in chat. Let's find out what virtual tabletop do the folks at Paizo tend to like to use or share information to folks out there about. So the Madman says that a friend of his was running 4E on Roll20, but changed to Astral because Roll20 Fog of War slowed everything to a crawl. And you got to have Fog of War, in my opinion. You got to have it. Because and Fantasy Grounds handles it a little wonky too. You got to kind of have to highlight what the characters are going to be able to see, and then you click on it to like delete it off. So you put a layer on top. So yes, so there is that a little bit. But the Madman says downside to Astral is that his friend has to design all the maps prior to game night. See, that's the thing. I wish, how do I want to put this? I wish these were more plug and play. So Aaron says, our official partners are Fantasy Grounds, Roll20, and Astral. We don't play favorites. I didn't think that you guys would. Rats. We almost had them, gang. We almost had them. No, we didn't. So the Madman says that his 5E group uses Fantasy Grounds. They added Fog of War, which wasn't available 3 weeks ago. Well, I think they've changed it. So Madman continues, while Fantasy Grounds allows you to purchase campaigns and books, the time saved and not having to develop my own maps is worth it, especially since players have chipped in some money. Malwinia says, yeah, I never played a virtual session, and we have divided our gaming night size down to meetings of 2. Yeah, that you should be fine with that. Grade A is asking, is Tailspire out? I'm not sure what that is. So John Vogel says, I use Vassal. That's different, man. That's board games. Mainly war games. So the Madman says, latest Fantasy Grounds Fog of War just popped in without having to do anything. Brian says that it was July when they realized how much they missed playing role-playing games since their group didn't end up using any online aids and theater of the mind. Yes, I am a big theater of the mind. So Malwinius says, in our country, you're only allowed to have four people from 2 households. Otherwise, people could call the police on you. And of course, there'd be somebody who would be doing that. So Brian says a few YouTubers have been out there making suggestions, including Roll20. So one thing you know for a fact is nobody pays me to share my opinions. People should probably pay me not to share my opinions sometimes. So, when I'm taking a look at the virtual tabletops, I'm not going to be like, oh, yes, you must purchase this because the check cleared. Won't see that happening. But I do wish the virtual tabletops were a bit more plug and play. And none of them seem to be that way just yet. that there's still some rough edges, and it doesn't matter if it's Roll20, it doesn't matter if it's Fantasy Grounds, Astral. Like I said, I'm now just peaking at Foundry because I've got Warhammer 4E, Warhammer Fantasy Role Playing, or Riff, as people like to say. So I'm going to be taking a look at that, and I was given the core rules as well as the starter set and Rough Nights and Hard Days. I know I always have a hard time remembering the title of that. And supposedly, I think, because I think they've hired somebody to port all this stuff over for Foundry, and I think Cubicle 7 has some sort of financial investment in Foundry because their system is like the only one that's like an official pay add-on that I ran across. But they supposedly have the first part of The Enemy Within, Enemy in Shadows. Sweet. Okay, so Flaming Heron says that they feel a lot of people have a hat in the ring when they do any recommendations. That is true. Brian says that they found a group for Baldur's Gate Descent into Avernus. Nice. Very cool. But has never heard of Astral. Once again, a lot of people haven't. A lot of people have not heard of that. It is from One Bookshelf. So I haven't peeked at it either. All I know is that they were, gosh, was it back in, was it April? April or August, something like that, that they were offering the premium Astral free. So that must be another kind of subscription model, I believe. So, all right. So Aaron from Paizo says there's no new physical card products for the Pathfinder Adventure card game in our public release page right now. Yeah, I'm kind of surprised by that. But they do have $5 PDF Society scenarios every other month. Yeah, I am kind of surprised by that too, Melwinius, because we've enjoyed the adventure card game a lot. We've really had a good time with it. All right, it's we've been streaming for about an hour and we dropped 0 frames, gang. Zip. So you have seen me in about as high definition as you're going to get, unfortunately. All right. Anyway, as I mentioned, stay tuned. I will have my review of The King is Dead, 2nd edition, later on tonight. This is from Osprey Games. To give you a hint, right? And once again, don't forget, jump in. And if you have any interest in picking up my copy of the alternate art cover for Tasha's Cauldron of Everything for Dungeons & Dragons from Wizards of the Coast, check out those videos. All right, so that is it for this time out. If you like the video, by all means, please give a quick thumbs up. Subscribe to the Gaming Gang channel if you haven't already. And if you do subscribe, ding that bell, because it will not only let you know when the Daily Dope streams live Monday through Thursday nights right here on YouTube as I bring you the latest in tabletop gaming news. It'll also let you know when I upload other videos, such as my upcoming unboxing and first look at Caesar, Rome versus Gaul from GMT Games. So those of you who hung out and joined me in chat, thank you very much. A big thank you to Aaron from Paizo Inc. for stopping by and hanging out with us and answering some of your questions as well. And of course, as always, I always appreciate people keeping me company. Otherwise, I'd just be pontificating into the ether in front of this camera, feeling like a real dope. Not that I'm not a dope. That's the title of the show, right? Some people wonder about that. How come it's called the Daily Dope? It's like, well, because the dope was, here's the news. I've got the dope. I've got the dope about this. And sometimes I'm a dope. So there you go. So you get both ways. And of course, for those of you out there who don't have an opportunity to watch live, thank you very much for watching after the fact. Even if you're watching on Memorex, I certainly appreciate anybody taking time out to check out any of my videos. All right, so everybody enjoy the rest of your Tuesday night / Wednesday morning, early afternoon, late afternoon, what have you, wherever you are on this planet. And of course, I will be back tomorrow as I wrap up all my videos during this never-ending pandemic. Here's hoping all of you out there are being smart and staying safe. Oh, you're still here. Well, once again, thank you very much for watching this video. And of course, if you'd like to subscribe to the Gaming Gang channel, click right here. And of course, if you want to see one of the latest episodes of the Daily Dope, click right on up here. And if you want to roll the dice, take your chances, see what YouTube thinks you might like from the channel, give a click right here. Once again, I'm Jeff McAleer, and I'll see you next time.